before UFC 217. It's the UFC in Sao Paulo this weekend. They are back in Brazil. The main event is, of course, Derek Brunson against Lyoto Machida. The co-main event is a fascinating one at 170 pounds. It's Demian Maia against our next guest, Colby Covington, joining us via the magic of Skype. There he is, Colby. I appreciate it, my friend. I appreciate you coming on. We've been moving you around. We've been jerking you around. And thank you very much for the patience and for being flexible. It means a lot. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Ariel. I appreciate it, buddy.
Are you surprised? Be honest with me, Colby. I feel like you were a little surprised when I reached out to have you on the show. I feel like you and I have gotten off on the wrong foot. Is that accurate? How would you describe your emotions when I reached out to have you on this program?
Yeah, a little bit surprised. I seen some prior interviews you did, with the fake Woodley, and and guys asking what you thought about me, and you just kind of always shrugged me off and didn't really believe in me or thought I had any potential. But it's all good. Everybody has their favorites. Everybody has the guys that have the hype on them. But I'm earning my way around this business.
And I feel, by the way, I feel like that's not 100% true. I think what really put us over the edge was someone asked me if a win over Maia would allow you to cut the line, and I said I didn't think so, just given some of the other welterweight fights in the mix right now. And you tweeted this to that person and to myself last week. You said, "It's a good thing nobody who matters cares what Helwani thinks. He is the mouthpiece for basement-dwelling World of Warcraft virgins." That's what you tweeted. And I was like, when I read that, I was like, well, now I have to get Colby on the show. This is perfect. So you don't really believe that, do you? I mean, come on. Basement-dwelling World of Warcraft virgins? What's that all about?
No, man. It's all just fun and games, man. You know how this business is. It's nothing personal to you, Ariel. I respect you and what you do as a person. And I got nothing but love for your work.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And same here as well. You've been doing a lot of good things, but you have, there does seem to be, like, lately, especially on social media, even, the past couple of days, SBG and all, like, you have upped your trash talking game. Did you feel like you weren't getting noticed? Did you feel like, okay, something has to change here? I need to rattle things. I need to poke a few people. I need to pick some fights because for whatever reason, whatever I was doing before wasn't working. Because it seems like there's been a shift over the last few months.
Yeah, definitely. I want to get people interacted. I want to get people engaged. I want people to watch me fight, so if they want to see me get knocked out, if they want to see me get saluted, good. As long as they're watching me fight, that's all I care about. So, I'm just speaking a lot of truth. A lot of things I'm saying, it's a lot of truth. I'm not saying things that aren't true. So, if I have to go on social media and be a little bit more vocal to get the big fights, that's what I'm willing to do.
You've talked about Woodley, who we'll get to in a second, but you've also talked about RDA. You end up with Demian Maia, who some still believe is the toughest guy in the division, and you're getting him in his home city, in his home country. What was your reaction when you got the call, when you got the offer? Maia in Brazil.
Oh man, I was ecstatic. I was really excited. I know that he only wanted to sign the dotted line to fight me if it was in his backyard where he could have the judges and the crowd on his side. But, it's okay. I'm willing to come to this dump and fight him. It doesn't matter. Title shots, champagne, and caviar on U.S. soil after this, Helwani.
It's not nice. I've never been to Sao Paulo. What's it like? Is it a dump?
Oh, dude, it's a dump, man. The AC is not working here, man. I'm sweating my nuts off out here in the Amazon. But it's okay. They'll be extra sweaty for Demian Maia when I drop him on his face on Saturday night.
Wow. So do you believe that you beat him, you get a title shot? Do you really think you'll cut the line with a win on Saturday?
Yes, I do believe I will cut the line Saturday. I think that Robbie Lawler, he wasn't competitive in the fight versus Woodley. So why redo that fight if he beats RDA? It doesn't really make sense. That fight didn't sell in the first place. And, RDA, the UFC knows that he was ducking me and he didn't want to fight me. So, I think that I will duck the line. His wins haven't been impressive, and after this Saturday, the UFC will know that I am the uncrowned king of this division.
To the best of your knowledge, did they reach out to RDA about fighting you?
Yes, they did reach out to RDA several times. They wanted us to fight in UFC Singapore, but he didn't want to fight me. He turned me down multiple times, and this is when no one else in the division had anybody to fight, so it only made sense that me and him fought. But he didn't want to fight, and that's why he got put behind me on the Singapore card, and I got a bigger fight. I got, at the time, Young Hum Kim, who was number 7 in the world, and they put me ahead of him, and he got a guy that was on a losing streak, Tarek Safadine. So, I think the UFC knows that these guys are ducking me right now.
It was interesting. I remember watching that, and I remember what you said on the mic afterwards. And I remember the talk. You put that picture of him behind you, or you behind him at the press conference. And I was like, wow, I thought it was a missed opportunity. You were there in the same arena as him. You could have said, look, you ducked me. Now we both won. You have to fight me next. But you chose to go after Woodley instead. Why did you do that?
I did that because, I'm past RDA now. He's a thing of the past, man. He's got a couple fights left in his tank, and he's going to be done. If they would have given me RDA, I would have been the guy to put the stamp on his career and send him into retirement. But since they didn't, I was looking for bigger fights. I wanted Tyron Woodley, Demian Maia, Stephen Wonder Girl Thompson. I wanted a top 5 fight. I feel like I had earned it. So, I didn't really care about RDA after I beat Dong Hun Kim. He was number 7 in the division. So why would I want to go backwards?
Fair enough. It's very rare to see two teammates involved in something like this, and to be fair, he's not the one doing a lot of the talking. I asked him about you, Tyron Woodley, that is, when he was on my show a couple months ago. Like, he wouldn't even say your name. He didn't really want to go there. And yet you're very vocal about him, and you say a lot about him. You write a lot about him. You tweet a lot about him. What's the genesis of this issue that you have with him? When did this all start? Because you don't often see two members of a team involved in something like this.
First off, I don't consider Tyron Woodley a teammate. He trains at Duke Rufus, Rufus is in his corner every fight, so he's been doing his training camps at Rufus Sport. He has an ATT affiliate in St. Louis, but, okay, whatever. Just because he branded an ATT so he can make some money and he had an investor, I don't consider that a teammate. He comes to our gym maybe once a year, and that's just to make cool with Dan Lambert. He just wants to stay on his good side. I mean, who wouldn't want to stay on Dan Lambert's good side? The guy's one of the greatest people in the world. So, besides that, Tyron Woodley, he's an easy fight, so that's why I'm calling him out. I'm in his nightmares. The reason he don't want to say my name is because he knows what happened last time we did train together a couple years ago. And let me tell you one thing, Helwani, it wasn't pretty. He quit in the gym.
Really? What happened? Tell us what happened. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so we were supposed to spar like 5 rounds that day. He was getting ready for Rory McDonald. He wanted a guy that was going to pressure fight him, back him up. And he did his typical ways, back up to the cage, try and do that. And I put him up against the cage, and within 2 rounds, he quit. He said, no, I'm done for the day. I quit training. His coach, Den Thomas, is like, okay, you're done for the day, Colby. I said, hey, man, I thought we were going 5 rounds today. He's like, Tyron doesn't want any more. 2 rounds, he's done. The pace, the pressure, he couldn't handle it anymore. And that's what's going to happen when we fight. He's not going to be able to handle it.
Wow. So you like when you see him, do you ever see him in the gym? Do you guys ever interact, or are you always like, is he never there when you're there training in South Florida? Because I think his last camp was there, right?
He came for his last camp for like 3 or 4 days, maybe a week max. But okay, that's the only time he's been in the gym in the last 2 or 3 years. So, I don't see him in the gym. At that time when he was in the gym, I was still just coming home from Singapore. So I went from Singapore to my home in Oregon, and I didn't get to see him in the gym. So, I don't know what he's saying about this stuff. Oh, he's shadow boxing under my poster, all these lies. He's just manufacturing lies to the media like he always does. And that's why I call him the fake champ.
Did you watch his fight against Maia? And if so, what did you think of the fight?
Yeah, I did watch it. It was one of the worst welterweight title fights in the history of the UFC. It was an embarrassment to this division. And that's why I'm here to resurrect this division, because Tyron Woodley's not going to resurrect this division. It's going to be me that resurrects this division. The least strikes thrown in a title fight, that was a joke. Once I beat Demian Maia, Tyron Woodley's going to make up these preemptive injuries why he can't fight me. But it doesn't matter, because I'll just bitch slap him with my interim belt.
Do you think that's possible? You think they'll give you an interim belt? I mean, he is one of the more active champions in the UFC.
I think that he's going to make up some injuries, and start saying, oh, I want the money fight. I want Bisping or St. Pierre. But, he's not a money fighter. He couldn't sell 100,000 pay-per-view buys if his life depended on it. So, it doesn't make sense to give that guy a money fighter. He's always pulling this victim card. Oh, everybody's racist because they don't want to watch me fight. Like, no one wants to watch you fight because you just back up and you don't do anything in fights. So, I'm just sick of him playing the victim, and I just want to expose him. I hope the UFC gives me the opportunity very soon.
How does Dan Lambert, who owns ATT, feel about this situation?
Dan, he kind of stays out of it, but he understands. He had Robbie Lawler and Tyron, who were both kind of under the ATT banner, and they had to fight. And this is the fight business. This is no team when you're in an individual sport. We all want the same common goal. That's the world title. I think Dan just stays out of it, and he's not worried about it. But it's a feather in his cap having the two best fighters in the world fighting for each other under his American Top Team brand. I think that says something about Dan Lambert and what he's doing in the fight business.
Welterweight might be one of my favorite divisions right now because you have the guys at the top that we all know about, but there's this like crop of youngsters that are coming out and really looking great, including yourself. Kamaru Usman has looked good as of late. Santiago Ponzinibbio had a big win recently. Of course, Mike Perry with a big win. And then just this past weekend, Darren Till with a fantastic performance, I thought, against Don Cerrone. However, according to your Twitter, you didn't seem all that impressed with it. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I wasn't that impressed. I mean, he beat an aging vet who's worn out. Donald Cerrone's had a lot of fights. His chin's not the same. You could see in that fight, he got touched and he was already asking for a way out. He didn't get put out unconscious. That's an aging, worn out vet that his time's up. His time's been up, So, I'm not that impressed with that win. In this sport, you got to be well-rounded, and I don't think that kid is well-rounded.
You said something like he went from being an utter nobody to just a nobody? Come on, Darren Till, he looked great, undefeated. Finished Cerrone.
Yeah, he finished Cerrone, but, Cerrone, he's not getting those lucky vitamins from Jackson Wink anymore. His body's dramatically changed since USADA came around. So, I don't think that victory is that impressive. And if you look at the way Cowboy fought, that's a completely different Cowboy than we've ever seen in the years past. So, I don't really think that victory is a very adequate victory.
What do you think of the exchange between him and Mike Perry afterwards?
I thought it was good. I thought those two young kids can fight for the gatekeeper of the division. They could be the outsiders looking in. I think it's a good fight for them. I think they should fight for that type of fight. Those guys in the 15 range in the world should fight for that opportunity. But I'm on to bigger and better things. I'm on to Demian Maia and Tyron Woodley. I'm out here in this dump they call Sao Paulo. Demian Maia's home. It's a joke, man. They got me out of here, man. It's like hell out here, man. I'm just ready to get home to U.S. soil and fight for a title back home in the U.S.
Are you worried about calling it a dump while you're there? You could be upsetting some of the locals. Does that concern you at all?
No, I don't think the locals are going to like me anyways once I beat Dad-Bod Maia. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Sao Paulo is a dump. That's a known fact. They fucked up bringing me down here, Ariel. I'm a problem. I'm sending their hero to hell. Shit, he might thank me. Hell's probably an upgrade from this place. Did I mention this place is a dump yet, Ariel?
Yes, you did. SBG, you seem to have an issue with SBG. You're tweeting a lot about SBG. What's your problem with them?
I don't know. I just think that they claim to be bigger than they are. They're claiming to be the best gym in the world, and everybody knows American Top Team is the best gym in the world. So let's just make that clear. They're not winning fights. They haven't won a fight in years. I can't even remember the last time they won a fight. I think it was Connor about 2 years ago. But besides that, they're not winning fights, and they're claiming to be the best gym in the world. So, if you're going to claim these unlawful lies, then I'm going to call you out on it.
Okay. Well, they have one, like James Gallagher's won in Bellator. Connor won at MSG. Last year, they've got guys coming up. So, that, I don't think it's been years, but maybe Artem losing this past weekend and, some of the maybe more gunny, but that was somewhat controversial poke in the eye, right? He got poked. You saw that, right? Santiago, a teammate of yours, isn't he not?
Yeah. Santiago's a teammate. That was an unfortunate ending to the fight. You just never know what's going to happen. I did see the eye pokes. It was unfortunate. Maybe they should run that back and they should put Till versus Perry.
Okay, I like it. By the way, speaking of best team, you're involved in this angle for Impact Wrestling, where Dan Lambert, and I must say, Dan Lambert just killing it on the mic. You're in the ring. He's got all his old belts there, and it's you guys, ATT against the Impact team, and it seems like you're having a blast. But I have to ask you about this angle. Is it not weird that Stephan Bonner is on the Impact side of things? He's an MMA guy. Why is he on why is he defending pro wrestling? He should be, or is this all leading to him turning on the Impact team and then siding with American Top Team? Is that what's happening here?
Did you see me choke Stephan Bonner unconscious last week on national television, Ariel?
Yes, I saw. You seem to be in fine form.
Yeah. I mean, I had to expand my brand of violence to Impact Wrestling because nobody in the UFC at the time wanted to sign the dotted line. So, that's why I'm over here in Impact Wrestling, Shout out to Impact Wrestling and all the pro wrestlers out there. Also, make sure you all tune in to Bound for Glory only on pay-per-view November 5th. We will have American Top Team's own Dan Lambert, the greatest manager extraordinaire ever to grace the earth. And he will present two of American Top Team's finest, King Mo Lawal and Bobby Lashley versus Moose and Stephen Bonner. Only on pay-per-view November 5th. Bound for Glory, baby.
In Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, I do believe. Will you be there?
Yes, I should be there, Ariel.
Wow. Did you grow up a pro wrestling fan?
Yeah, I did grow up a pro wrestling fan. I'm a big advocate of it. I loved back in the day, it was a lot more enthusiastic and there was a lot more attitude and it was a lot more enjoyable back then. It's a lot watered down these days and
yeah.
But that's what we're bringing. We're bringing life back to pro wrestling. The angle we're running with American Top Team, the MMA versus pro wrestling side, it's a lot more enjoyable and that's why we're doing this.
Will you wrestle as well? Are you going to actually be in a match?
You'll have to tune in. I can't give away that secret information. Unless you got information to Kim Jong's ill strike codes, then I'm not going to give you that information.
No, I don't. I don't have that kind. I have other information, but not that information. Do you have to get UFC's clearance to do this? How does that work?
Yeah, I had to get UFC's clearance. Dan Lambert had to reach out to Dana White and ask if it was okay. And, I thank Dana White and the UFC and everybody for giving me this exempt to kind of go wrestle on the pro wrestling circuit with Impact Wrestling. And, I'm thankful for them kind of letting me do that since I'm in contract with the UFC.
Last thing for you, Colby. Do you feel like a win is not enough against Maia? Do you have to do something spectacular? Sometimes people say, oh, it's not the most exciting fights. The Kim fight was kind of criticized as well. Do you have to, put on a show here? Do you have to finish him? Do you have to do something out of the ordinary to really get people's attention? Are you thinking that way?
No, I'm not thinking that way. I'm just thinking about destroying Demian Maia and sending him to the retirement home. Luckily, we're in Sao Paulo, Brazil, so it won't be too far for him to get stretchered off to. But, I don't think I have to perform. I just have to do what I always do, and that's win. I'm a winner. I'm a proven winner. Look at my track record. So, I think when I finish Demian Maia, there'll be no clear evidence that I am the champ, and I will get the next title shot.
All right. Are we cool now? Are we buds?
Yeah, we're buds, Ariel. I got a lot of respect and a lot of love for you, man.
I appreciate it, my man. Thank you very much. And by the way, I have no problem with basement dwelling World of Warcraft virgins. I mean, they're fine people as well. And I didn't take it as an insult. For the record, I thought it was funny, and that's why I wanted to have you on the program. One of the many reasons.
Every life matters, Ariel. We know that.
Okay. Thank you, Colby. All the best to you. Good luck on Saturday. I'm looking forward to it.